Hello, beautiful people, and now for another exciting episode of Math for Grown-Ups. Today we're going to talk about subtraction. And subtraction is a little bit tricky because a lot of people were taught by their first grade, second grade teacher that you can do 8 minus 5 and get 3, as I hope you know. And the teacher will say yes, because if you had 8 apples and you took away 5, you'd have 3 left. But 5 minus 8 equals can't do it. If you had 5 apples, no way could you give someone 8 apples. It just can't happen. But this is wrong. And this second grade teacher trying to make your life easier actually made your life harder because the teacher didn't explain negative numbers to you. The answer is -3. If you have $5 and you spend 8, you're $3 in debt. I don't know where that money's coming from, but this negative numbers really confuse people. They're basically wrong numbers. Negative numbers are wrong numbers. They go the wrong way. Probably one of my favorite examples is how Fahrenheit designed his thermometer. He had some sort of long tube with alcohol in it or something like that. And when it was the hottest day of the year, he marked it and he said, well, that's 100 degrees Fahrenheit. There you go, hottest day of the year. He went out on the coldest day of the year and it was 0 degrees and he marked that as 0. And so what does it mean when it's -12 degrees? That means it's really wrong. Those are wrong temperatures. Temperatures above 100 degrees, those are wrong temperatures too. It just shouldn't get 110 degrees. You need to move or get air conditioning or something like that. Another example might be sea level, where, a lot of things are, height above sea level, 400 feet above sea level. And then you have things below sea level, minus 10 feet. That means, well, if you let the sea in, it would flood your place. And you have up, you have down. It kind of fits together kind of nicely. Or debt. I don't need to draw you a picture for debt. Debt is, money that you owe. One interesting thing is if we reverse the order of subtraction, we get the negative of the answer. Just like that, 8 minus 5 is 3, 5 minus 8 is -3. This is a trick that we can use to our advantage. For example, let's say someone says, hey, what is 170 minus 238? You might think, oh, yuck, but here's the trick. What you do is you do the 238 minus 170, 23 minus 17 is 5, 58, and then you know that because you reverse the order, you get the wrong answer. The answer is -58. And this is how I'm always going to do it. I always subtract it with the bigger number on top and the smaller down below, and I just have to kind of be aware of whether the answer I'm looking for is going to be positive or negative, and I just give it the right sign. Okay. The next thing that gets a little bit tricky is when you subtract negative numbers. So if someone says, hey, what's the difference between 86 degrees and 49 degrees? You'd say, well, the difference between that is 86 minus 49 is, darn it, 37 degrees. So this is a range of 37 degrees. You subtract to find the amount between two amounts. Great. Okay. Well, what is the difference between 42 degrees and 12 degrees? What's this? Well, it's 42 minus 42 degrees and -12 degrees. 42 minus -12 is what? Well, hopefully you can easily see that this distance is 42 and this distance is 12. So this is the same thing as 42 plus 12. Now, if you want to get all math about it, there's some explanations for this, but you're adults, we're adults. We don't really need to get into this. Here's the thing. If this, when it's a negative temperature, to subtract a negative is to add like this. Same thing if it was sea level. If it's money, basically negative numbers are like debt. If someone's like, hey, don't worry about that 20 bucks you owe me. Well, if someone is subtracting a negative 20, it's like they just gave you 20 bucks by forgiving you a debt. So, there's one last thing that I think is very useful to think about, and that is if you figure this out, there's a thing called the commutative law, which I hadn't gotten. Really? I can write on that. The commutative law of addition says that A plus B is the same thing as B plus A. For example, 7 plus 12 is the same thing as 12 plus 7. Not because they're 19, but because it doesn't matter what order we put these things in. The beautiful thing about this is that we can do something like 3 minus negative 9 plus 5 plus negative 7 minus 8 plus 10. And we can do anything, no matter how complicated it is, as with just one subtraction. The trick is anytime you have one of these subtracting a negative, you turn it into a positive. So this is 3 plus 9 plus 5 plus negative 7. Subtracting an 8 is like plus negative 8 plus 10. And next, what we can do is you almost pretend that you're like a store owner who, at the end of the day, you figure out all the money that came in, all the money that came out, and you do one single subtraction. So we rearrange this to put all the positives first. We say 3 plus 9 plus 5 plus 10, and then plus negative 7 plus negative 8. Now, 3 plus 9 is 12, plus 5 is 17, plus 10 is 27. That's all adding. And when you add a whole bunch of negatives together, you add up all your debts. They just become more debts. Plus negative 15. And then at the very, very end, you do one single subtraction. 27 minus 15 is 12. Now, if this had been a bigger number, it would end up being negative. We got 27 bucks in, we took 15 bucks out, yay, we made $12 profit. Hopefully, this is not our only source of income. But that should be enough for now. Negative numbers, adding and subtracting integers is really, really key to understanding and being comfortable with arithmetic and algebra.